Now, last night, Apple unveiled loads of new products, including the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro, as well as the Apple Watch Series 8, Apple Watch Ultra, and new AirPods. And with us now to react to these announcements is Georgie Barrat, tech journalist best known as a presenter on The Gadget Show. How are you doing today?
I am good, thank you, Toby. Yes, very well. Always exciting this time of the year, because Apple always do it every September. You have that sense of anticipation of, okay, what are the updates? What are they going to put their money behind? What are we looking to improve when it comes to, well, specifically for me, I'm always really interested in the iPhone because I sort of feel like that is the flagship smartphone that really changed the face of smartphones back in 2007 when it was first released.
There's always one coming out. We're at number 14 now. How did we get there so fast? Because it feels like 3 weeks ago that the iPhone 5 was the biggest thing.
It's so true. I was actually just speaking to my mother-in-law and I was like, what iPhone are you? What number are you on? I think she's on number 8 or something. So yes, there's definitely, many iPhones that people can have.
Yeah. And this is a question you're probably going to get a lot. What does the iPhone 14 do that the previous ones didn't?
Okay, yes, this is a very good question, especially if you're due an upgrade or you're wanting to change phones. Is it worth going for the iPhone 14? Well, for me, I always think it's worth looking at some of the key things that you use your phone for. Yeah. So how's the camera been upgraded? How's the battery been upgraded? Are there any sort of standout features? So camera-wise, yes, there are upgrades. The iPhone 14 Pro, which is the sort of more high-spec model out of the two, now has a 48 megapixel camera. But for me, what I'm more excited by is that it's got a larger light sensor. Now, what that means, I know it sounds fancy, but very simply put, is that it's better taking photos in darker conditions. So often when you're taking photos and it's a bit dim, either you put the flash on and then it's very bright and makes everyone look a bit like a ghost, or it can be quite grainy, as this just optimizes that. So you get a lovely, you get the detail, you get a warm glow, and it just looks good if maybe you're indoors or it's just a little bit dark outside. It's a little bit dark outside today where I am, so that would make a big difference. So yes, the camera's had an upgrade. It's now got a better battery life, something that people care about when you're on your phone all day, every day, doing lots of battery draining activities. But for me, I'm really excited by the screen. So it's now got something called, and this is so like LA, so do bear with me when I give you this lingo, a dynamic island. What does that mean, you ask?
No idea.
Well, let me tell you. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but a lot of the phones have something called a notch, which is around the selfie camera and the speaker. There's like a sort of black cutout box, basically, where there's no pixels. It's just where those two things sit. Well, what they've done now is they've managed to incorporate that into the design of the phone, and that like black box becomes animated and it displays different notifications on it. So you can do things like you can, get little notifications on your battery percentage, maybe if a timer's playing, if it gives you notifications if you've successfully made a payment if you're using Apple Pay. Now, all this is something that's very particular to the iPhone, but as an iPhone user, it gets me very, very excited because it's just something that you interact with every single day. And it just really is nicely animated and it creates almost a dual screen for when you're doing multiple activities, something that's really, really helpful. So yes, those are the sort of standout headlines for me. But I mean, something that I guess I just think as a tech journalist, I've always got my tech journalist hat on, like what are the tech trends, what we're starting to see happen more and more. And something that resonated with me is the Apple One plan that they do now, which is not an entirely new thing. But basically, instead of having lots and lots of different subscriptions, Apple have amalgamated all those subscriptions. So when it comes to your like music, your TV, your gaming, your storage, and it's made it a lot cheaper for users if they just pay for that one fee per month. And then that gives you access to all that stuff. Because at the moment, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I seem to have like a million different things that I'm subscribed to, a million different channels, a million different like music streaming services. And actually being able to like collate some of those things down is, I think, something that users are wanting more and more, and seeing where they get real true value for money with stuff like that. So so Apple One have put that Apple have put together the Apple One plan, and then interestingly, EE off the back of that have now put together the full works plan, which is not only all that stuff, but it's also your phone contract and your general data allowance and stuff like that. So instead of having multiple bills, and probably not the most economical way of doing things, you literally just have that one thing that you pay for per month. So again, that's just more looking at general tech trends. That's something that I really notice as well.
Yeah. And the new iPhone 14 comes with emergency satellite connectivity and car crash detection technology. So this is going to be really useful for people that find themselves in danger a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this is a really exciting technology. And with both those at the moment, I think that's just a US feature. But usually if it goes to the US, it does mean it will eventually come over to the UK. So don't expect this if you're going to buy your iPhone 14 right away. But certainly it'll be coming down the road for us. So yeah, the emergency feature means that you can call SOS without having any signal. So you do this by actually connecting to a satellite, which used to take a huge amount of technology to be able to do that. But now your iPhone can do it, where it literally tells you the direction you should be pointing your iPhone into the sky, and then it can send this SOS signal to a satellite, and from there Apple can process it to try and get you help. So I mean, hopefully a feature that you'd never ever have to use, but the fact that you've got that as an option, that if you don't have signal, you'll be able to still alert someone to your whereabouts, is really, really important. Yes, and crash detection, that's if you're in a car accident, it automatically notifies the services if that has happened.
Hopefully it's not overly sensitive though, and notifies the authorities when nothing's really happened.
I know, that's when you want technology not to fail you. Like, no, why is there a police car that's just turned up, or an ambulance? No, you have to hope that their technology is sophisticated enough that that doesn't happen. What I can assure you, if it did happen, it'd be making headlines, so you'd hear about it.
Yeah, and the calling a satellite seems really exciting, because although I'm guessing it's just for emergencies at the moment, could this mean in the future that you could call and text whilst on a plane because you're not interfering with the normal radio waves?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, you know what? You can get Wi-Fi now on planes. So that is, a thing that can already happen, but that's sort of done through the aeroplane's Wi-Fi signal. But yeah, certainly it points towards a future where, there are different ways to connect with other devices, which doesn't require you having the traditional 4G or 5G signal at the top of your phone. But that's for brainier people to work out. I'll just comment on it once they figure that out, because trust me, I don't think I have the wherewithal to put that together.
Yeah, and they've came out with new Apple Watches as well, which we could mention because it's not all about the iPhone. Explain to me the appeal of the Apple Watch, because I've got a watch and a phone as two separate things. Why do I need them together?
This is a very good point. I think it's, for people who firstly like to collect that really accurate data on themselves, whether that be step count, the amount of water you've drunk, your heart rate, how much exercise you've done. Having all that stuff, some people find really empowering, and it allows them to better understand themselves. So, so personal data, I think, is really important aspect of the conversation. Ease of use, if you're paying for stuff, if you've got a Ring doorbell and you want to see who's there, if you've got phone calls coming through, notifications that the DHL parcel's on the way. Our lives are basically run now through our phones, and having that phone on your wrist is an extra help when it comes to sort of streamlining that process. And you can control things like your earphones. You can use it to listen to music. And who doesn't want an extra bit of technology attached to yourself? It kind of looks sleek, but it is another thing to charge, and it is another expense. So, I think it doesn't suit everybody, but I know the people that do enjoy all those aspects really do enjoy using the Apple Watch.
Absolutely. Well, where can we go to find out more information all about the iPhone and Apple Watch, and of course the AirPods as well that are new?
Yeah, absolutely. So I recommend going to ee.co.uk because that's got all the details on how you get hold of the new iPhone 14. And I hate to say it, but I think I may be getting one. I'm quite tempted by it, especially when you sit through a 90-minute presentation of just how good all this stuff is. You're like, oh, sold.
Well, I suppose you've got a job where you might get to have a go on one at some stage anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about getting hands-on with this tech. I haven't yet got on it. I just watched it online last night, which again is something that happens more and more. But yes, I'm looking forward to getting hands-on with it.
Excellent. Well, many thanks for coming on today. It's been great to talk to you.
All right, cheers. Thank you so much.